Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lads and lasses, people with glasses, and everybody in between. I'm Anne for the Mackem, and this is the Mackem Football Show. Oh, yep. Today we're joined by Cabby, who's having a little bit of a spectacle of himself there.
Hello, no vinegar tonight, I've run out.
Good boy. If you're watching this live, down below me is Paul Wilson.
Good evening.
Good evening. And in the bottom right corner is Jacob, aka Yorkshire Mackem.
Evening, my Yorkshire Mackem brothers and sisters.
Cool. Welcome along. We've got a couple of games to talk about since our last podcast. We've played Stoke City, we've played Leicester City, and we do have Norwich City to talk about in the upcoming game tomorrow as well. So plenty of talking points from those first two games. We'll start off with the Stoke one because it is the most distant in our memories, and we might get through it a little bit quicker than normal. We lost that one 2-1. Frustrating performance, without a shadow of a doubt. First half, first goal, 100% a handball from, I don't know how to say his name. How do you say this guy's name? Does anybody know?
Oh, pass.
He blatantly handballs it though. I get how the referee didn't see that ball, but his arms up, he controls it, he knocks it down, and is allowed to carry on and scores directly from that. Within two more touches, he's scoring that goal. So the players around him are protesting that is a handball. The lino definitely should have seen it. If not, he's absolutely blind and should not be ever officiating again. bit of a catastrophizer there, but it's so blatant, and that goes on to potentially mar our opinion of the officials in this game again. We've talked about officials in pretty much the last 4 or 5 games, which is becoming a standard.
I don't know if you noticed the if you look back at that goal again that you're on about.
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at the reactions of the Sunderland fans behind the goal. Nearly every one of them is just like signaling at some point, like smacking their arm or something like that. It was just so obvious. If all the fans seeing it, I mean, how the hell could two officials not?
Yeah, it's just so blatant. Paul, were you there? Did you go?
To be honest, I'm pleased I didn't go down. I was going to, but
Yeah.
I was like, nah, I can see what's coming. It's Alex Neil.
Yeah, there was
I felt the same, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah, there was a little bit of optimism from my end around that game, because I thought it's a perfect time to show a little bit of vengeance around it. Yeah, very, very strange. Lewis, hello, welcome along. He says, one day I will go to the Stadium of Light. Well, if you make it the 11th of November, when we play in Birmingham City, we can meet up.
November, innit?
I think it's
November.
Yeah, I think it's like in 2 weeks' time, something like that. What were your opinions on that initial goal in the Stoke game, Jacob?
Stoke game overall performance, like you said, frustrating, and
About the goal?
yeah, and the performance overall, like linesman must have seen it. So why didn't he just put his flag up? And it just baffles me. It really just baffles me. But even if VAR was in the Championship, you never know. VAR could still say no. It's done that in the Prem. It's screwed people over, hasn't it? Just look at Liverpool and Tottenham.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
So someone would probably still get screwed by VAR, you know. So, but I do think the VAR needs to be in the Championship, and you know what, maybe League 1 or 2 as well. But
it's a human error intervention that I'm okay with. So VAR is not 100% perfect. Referees are not 100% perfect, but if combined 90% perfection and 90% perfection equals like 99% perfection, I'm all right with that. But it's when it becomes like even worse. The extra step is to highlight the mistakes and correct those in the game. This level doesn't have it, and I think those referees are heavily reliant on it. Paul, you've moved. Paul is now here.
There's a fright.
That's rich. So yeah, the VAR talk, the match officials talk around that first goal, I think as a fan base, we're just sick of it now. It needs to be fixed. We're shouting from the high heavens. I'm not sure that's actually in the plans of the EFL, but I think we would be beneficial of it. We've had the VAR in the Premier League since, I think, 2019. Every team that's come down has it in their stadium. It can be passed down in parachute payments. Just get it installed, at least in the championship level of the EFL, to see if they can trial it for the rest of the leagues. It makes it so much more fair. And then at the end of the day, you only have to add in it 2 teams in every season after that fact. So, yeah, but that's where we're at. Then, second goal. Jack Clarke with a tap in, the easiest goal of his existing career. An open net from some weird goalkeeping. How would you describe that style of goalkeeping nowadays? Because Joe Bellingham basically intercepts the ball just before the halfway line and drives towards the goal for about 35 yards, cuts inside, has a shot, and the keeper, rather than grabbing it, parries it, pushes it into the middle of the space where a defender should, in theory, normally be, and clear it out. But he parries it straight to Jack Clarke, who has like 95% of the goal to aim at, and it's literally one of those ones it's harder to miss than score. I wasn't complaining that the referee screwed up, but that was 3 minutes after that VAR incident goal. What were your thoughts on? What were your thoughts on? Well, I think Bellingham is not getting enough praises for Jack Clarke's goal there. Too, what do you think of that new goalkeeper style that just rather than catch ball, bops it out? Go on, Paul, since you've moved towards me.
Yeah, I actually have to agree with you. And to be honest with you, Law, I know the boys put it up, but Mowbray's not happy at the moment, with the strikers.
With our strikers?
He's not happy with them whatsoever.
Why? I know why, but expand on it rather than just say he's not happy. Why is he not happy?
Because none of them's actually scoring.
They're not doing their job.
But the thing is, what I like about it for tomorrow, he has hinted of Mayenda.
Oh, I forgot he existed.
Yeah,
Is that him from Benfica?
No, that was Hamir Semedo's from Benfica. Mayenda is he from Lorient or PSG? He's from a French team.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Mowbray's hinted to Nick Barnes that Mayenda could actually be on the bench tomorrow.
I'd like to see one of our strikers just start and finish the entire game. I think one of them, i.e. Burstow, is match fit for the entire game. It's just we're not trusting him enough. We're not giving them enough service. So the likes of, imagine if a striker was in Clarke's position there. You got to think Bellingham's driving from the halfway line. Burstow's somewhere in the middle of the pack, in the middle of midfield.
Invested Burstow, does he? He just does not look invested.
No, yeah, I think he does though, mate. I think it's just he's that desperate to get the ball. He's dropping back into a midfield position. He's not getting any service, and I can't blame him. So if we take one person out the middle of the park and put them higher up, that naturally makes the midfielders want to get rid of it forward because they're the ones that are going to cause most of the mistakes. But having
I think Tony Mowbray would address that, wouldn't you? I mean, it's been a few games now where he's been sort of non-existent.
What, Mowbray or the Burstow?
Burstow, yeah. I mean, you think Mowbray would address it? I mean, how many games has it been now where a lot of the fans on social media were saying, is Burstow be on the pitch?
I mean, yeah. What would you... Sorry.
Do you not think Chelsea's put a clause in their contract for us to actually play him every week?
No, that's impossible to guarantee. You cannot guarantee a person starting, and that is he's a loanee player. We could just cancel his loan. I don't think a loanee club can dictate how the club that takes that player decides to develop that individual. At the end of the day, he is their employee. He's our rental. He's our what do you call it? A contractor, essentially. He's doing the job for us, but to varying degrees of actual success. So, yeah. If I was Chelsea, looking at Burstow's performance, what are you thinking? What would you do with him? Because Chelsea have a huge academy, right? They have a huge backlog of players. What are you thinking? Does he need to go out on loan again next season?
Yeah, maybe to develop him. If they want him in the Chelsea team and main senior team in the future, then I think if I were Chelsea, I'd say, you know what, let's loan him out again, keep developing him, and turn him into a good player for the future.
To be fair, that's kind of what we're doing with our entire squad. That's our name. Thank you, Jim. Jim, welcome along. He says Meyenda's from FC Sochaux. He's had 1 start and 15 sub appearances last year, but at least he was scoring with them.
Meyenda was the one that picked up the injury as soon as he came in.
Like literally first day of training, he was injured, and he's been out. He hasn't started a single game in the first 13. So, like I said, I forgot he existed. He's not been in the rumour mill. He's not even, being considered really. The fact that he's potentially looking at upheaving the other 3 strikers that have been underperforming, shall we say? I'm all right with. I understand where Mowbray's coming from. He's upset with how the strikers are performing, but there's a little bit of a down to. There's been opportunities where Clark's had a penalty. Why are you not giving that to the striker? Yes, I know Clark's a dedicated penalty taker and his tally's going up, but if your strikers are struggling for goals, there's the easiest in. If you've ever got one, it's a direct one-on-one shot with a goalkeeper. Yeah, it makes so much more sense. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how we develop our front 3, but going back to the point, Burstow was nowhere to be seen for that Clark tap-in. Clark was in the box, Clark was in the danger zone, and Clark is the league top scorer off the back of it. So, is Clark now a dedicated striker for Sunderland?
Might as well be.
He's literally he's better than every other striker, literal out-and-out striker in the league.
May as well will be, because, I was listening to Mowbray's press conference actually for this game for tomorrow, and it actually sounded like Jack Clark actually was up front against Leicester.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's cutting into the box all the time. I think he should be more of a supplier, crosser into the box, but like you said, Burstow's never there because he's trying to get it further down the page. So if he's crossing it into empty space, which obviously looks worse because nobody's on the end of it. Maybe Bellingham might be bursting through, or Roberts is popping in, but yeah, I think if we've got strikers, they shouldn't be dropping back. I know it's a thing you've got to coach out of strikers to stop trying to assist too much in the midfield, but that's only where they're gonna that's only where they're gonna change it. Uploads just said Burstow is a flipping Wish version of Will Grigg. I mean, he is a loanee. At least we didn't spend what did we spend on Will Grigg? 15 million, something like that. It was 5 million. It was way too much. It was if it started with 7 figures, it was more than he was worth.
But this way, he wasn't on fire, was he?
Well, it depends on what kind of fire.
No, the other Grig's on fire.
he went to Greg's. Will Greg's on fire. Yeah. So back to the Stoke game, lads. The first half, after we levelled the game back up, I thought was okay. It was contentious. We looked in it. We looked the better team for the most part. A couple of decisions not going our way, but going to the half-time whistle 1-1, and then come back out, concede a corner in the first minute of that game, and yeah. We concede straight from a corner 2 minutes into that second half. Go on, Cabby. What's your thoughts on the second Stoke City goal?
just falling asleep at the back. Simple as that. Just clear as daylight how we got that header. It was just it's like they were out on the pitch and the minds were still in the dressing room. It was like it just couldn't have started a worse start of the second half. It was like, oh, for God's sake. It was just terrible. We need to tighten up from set pieces. But yet again, you get rid of the likes of Danny Bath, and that could be massive cart horse. What do you expect? You know, we're getting rid of our really decent defenders and stuff. It's just we just seem to be clueless on set pieces with balls coming in at the minute.
Whose job is that? Is that the coaches or Mowbray's?
Bit of both, I'd say.
Okay, because it's a quite common theme for us to zonally mark from set pieces and from from corners and free kicks. So it's clearly like that's our tactic for defending those. And zonal marking works. It does work if you've got the right player in the right position. If you've just got a number in a position, i.e., you've got a 5'9" Luke O'Nien coming up against a 6'5" centre back, that makes no sense. Yes, that person's in that position and he's doing the job, but he's never going to be able to leap as high as that 6'5" defender. So zonal marking only really works if you're coming up against somebody in your same physicality. So I think we just need to adopt the good old classic Sunday League style, man to a man, player to a player, attack somebody in your same kind of physique pattern. That 6'5" defender, if he was marked by Bellingham the entire time, if he was marked by Ballard, it would have been a much different story.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Jacob, you've been quiet on this one a little bit. What's your thoughts on the instant second leader, I guess, against Stoke?
Second goal, sloppy defending, really. I think defending could have been a lot better, and for it to be straight away first half of the second half, you get what I mean. It's just like disappointing, and to lose to Alex Neil again makes it worse, doesn't it? Because of course, how he left the club and some of the snarky comments he said before the 5-1 game last season. It's just, I'm hoping he's still manager when we play him at home, and then we can get revenge. But who knows? It's just, it was a silly goal to concede, and of course, that was the winning goal. That was their winning goal, wasn't it?
It was. You mentioned that. You mentioned very briefly in there poor decisions from the ref. I'll ask Paul and Cabby about that. The refereeing, like I've said earlier on, we've talked about it to the nth degree now. Poor officiating in this league. We've mentioned VAR. How much of the blame, that finger pointing that we like to do when we lose, because everybody needs to, what went wrong? A lot of fans are saying decisions that the referee were making were a big contributor to that. How much do you agree with those fans?
For me, I would say quite a lot.
Put a rough percentage on it, like to blame on the ref or the decisions that they didn't or they should have made. How much of that would have impacted the game, and how much of it is just Mowbray being tactically inept against Alex Neil's teams?
In a way, I think it's Mowbray as well, like because you know, when Alex Neil was shouting at the referee, well, not the referee, but apparently he was shouting at the fourth official. You know, when the referee went over to him.
Right. Okay.
I remember.
I actually think the referee should. I know the referee spoke to him.
Okay.
But, I think the referee probably would have. Referee should have done something more.
Okay. Cabby, your thoughts on that?
How much do I think the referee impacted that Stoke game?
Yeah. No, the officials.
The officials.
I'll tell you my rough percentage if that helps. I think it's probably about 70% down to how poor the refereeings were, and 30% on the tactical decisions made by Mowbray and the coaching staff. So a big chunk of how we performed in that second half, our players were doing absolutely everything they possibly could under that guidance and under that restriction from the match officials. It was just, I don't know, it just didn't pan out the way we wanted it to. And obviously it's really easy to say that when you lose a game, but we can't account for 70% of our game going wrong because officials are not doing their job effectively. That's a lot of luck that you need, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it was because of how long Mowbray took as well to make a substitution.
Oh, that's the 30%. Yeah. So he has a very rigid, very predictable style of management. He'll make a substitution at halftime, one sub, only ever one sub at halftime, if we're lucky. If he doesn't do that, it's 2 subs at the 60-minute mark, or 3 subs, all at the same time, every single time. One comes on the 70th or 75th minute, and the other one on the 80th or 85th minute. He has a very predictable style, and that style, Alex Neil knows to a T. Like, if I can pick it out, Alex Neil will definitely be able to see that trend and pattern. He has no ability to adapt to the opposition, which Alex Neil is notoriously known for. So, yeah. Mowbray's got a lot to blame for that. If he's doing another run-of-the-mill game, especially after a horrible defeat against Borough, it was a perfect opportunity for him to change it up, right?
Do you know what I was frustrated with is the fact, like, I thought there would have been a bounce back effect with that defeat against Middlesbrough. I thought maybe the lads would have been angry with the sending off, the playing Alex Neil's side. I just thought there would have been more fire, more fight, more power in the Sunderland display. And I was just disappointed how flat Sunderland were. It was like, you know, I was just surprised how flat we were.
Yeah. So I'm going to call this back because Jim's popped in the chat. For that Stoke game, Dan Neil was a massive miss, he says, and the referee had an absolute shocker. So we've talked about the referee side of it, but the players that were missing in the middle of the park, Ekwa was there, wasn't he? And I think he was brought back a little bit too soon.
I don't think he's 100% fit, Ekwa.
I think he's about 80% there. He's clearly like physically fit to like train and stuff, but he's not back up to his peak fitness. Oh no, will you stop snoring? No, oh, she's very cute.
I thought that was Cabby. I thought that was Cabby. Does it not?
Can you just mute him, man, please?
Yeah. So I don't know. The Stoke game again, I guess, was kind of the last of our poor performances. The second half, we should have come out a little bit more switched on, a bit more aware of our conditions of the game, because we played 45 minutes at that point.
What made it frustrating was the fact, like, how poor Stoke were. They were there for the taking. You know, we can't like polish a turd. I mean, Stoke, they were shocking. They were terrible, and you know, if we could have just played to our usual decent performances that we have done in the past, you know, we could have annihilated them. It was just like, I don't know, such a frustrating game to watch.
I'm trying to remember now. Was that the game where we started no strikers at all, or was that the Borough game? Yeah, it was the Stoke game.
No, it was the Stoke game. It was everybody was kicking up about it, like.
Yeah, because Ian, welcome along, by the way, mate, says no point complaining about the ref. I agree. There's very little change that's going to happen. Like I said, we've got to point the blame somewhere. You have to take your chances, and we are not. Playing a striker who's relatively anonymous in those games, he has no faith in Hemi or Rushin. I think he has faith in Rushin. I think it's just a language barrier with him. He can't understand. He can have as much briefings, but he's not able to react and adapt to the game. If we start a striker like we did against Leicester City, we will have a good performance. I just the entire outfit on that Stoke game was like just geared up for us to lose. So I'm right.
Paul said he says you asked him, are you going to the game? And he thought, like, you know, it's Alex Neil, and it's like it was almost nailed on what was going to happen before a ball was kicked.
The thing is, I can respect. Go on then. Sorry.
But this way, I was actually shouting at the screen,
Yeah,
the
well,
pub, I was shouting.
you had to. If you had the game, it would have been even worse.
We could play Alex Neil another 10 times. He'd beat us 10 times.
He does
So
have.
Mowbray is set up.
He does have that bogey appeal to his current squad. He could go to QPR and they'd end up beating us because it's just like he knows how we work and he'll be able to get our players to perform against it. But I think I rate Stoke City as a club. It's an underdog city. It's an underdog club. But whilst they've got
Leeds as well, it's right after us.
Exactly. I can rate them as an outfit, as a footballing potential Premier League team. They're not going to be in the Premier League for a while, but whilst they've got Alex Neil there, I've just got very my respect for them is just zero. As soon as he's gone, I'll get it back, but I feel sorry for Lyndon Gooch who's there and not getting utilised, and yeah, there's that. Cool. We'll move on to the rest of the game, shall we? We've got a couple of points from Acacia saying there. She went to the Q&A, so we'll talk about the Q&A at the very end of the stream, because there is a couple of, as Cabby put it, a little bit of silly questions that were asked by the fans. So we'll go into those silly questions at the end. But the Leicester game, again, we lose this game. This one for me was a much better, solid performance from Sunderland. We look comfortable on the ball. It's, again, not being clinical in front of goal. The refereeing was much better. Yeah, he made some mistakes, but overall it was balanced. He made some mistakes for us and he made some mistakes for Leicester. So we're not blaming the referee. There was a penalty appeal for us, but that was counteracted. If we look at it blatantly, there was a foul that I think it was Dennis Serkin did. He pulled the shirt of the right winger for Leicester City, and the foul ended up in the box, but he was given a free kick just outside the box. So the foul was recognised, but it wasn't given as a penalty, which it should by the letter of the law. So penalty appeals were balanced out. Cards, I think, were fairly distributed. Yeah, I think the referee, nobody can blame for this game. It was purely our system on defending. Defending set pieces, man marking, we'll talk about it again, is horrible. The zonal marking is horrible. Man marking is the way we need to go. Comments, boys. Go for it.
Yeah, like you said, performance-wise, we were pretty good, and Leicester fans have even said we're the hardest team that they've come up against at the moment this season.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to show summer. Even though we've lost, it's a disappointing result, but you can't take the performance away, can you? Really, especially against a team that are killing it, and if you're hearing their fans saying we're the best team they've played, that's got to be something, hasn't it? But I do think we should have had a penalty.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah.
It was the same with Stoke near the end of the Stoke game. We should have had a pen. So that's 2 games where we should have had a pen, and yet I don't know what the ref's doing. He's probably thinking about what he's having to tea. But
yeah,
it wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't as bad as the ref in the Borough and Stoke game, but still, he wasn't great. Warwick, I think he had a bit of little man syndrome, to be honest. But yeah, I want.
Oh, you were saying that quite vocally on the live stream. little man. What are you talking about? Who's got the little man syndrome?
Little man syndrome, yeah.
Napoleon syndrome, yeah. Like I said, I don't think the referee's to blame for our end result there. I think it is just purely about being clinical. Paul, you're nodding along. Guessing you agree with both of us.
Yeah, but to be honest, I was shocked that Sky actually blamed our players, for our penalty, because I was listening to what Sky was saying. And apparently Sky actually blamed our players for not complaining.
That shouldn't be down. Well, that's a really terrible take from Sky Sports if that's what they've said, because look at what happened to Dan Neil at the Borough game. As soon as he complained at the ref, he got a yellow card. So our team is fully aware if you complain too vocally, we're getting cards. So no, and none of our players are going to complain because it's going to get us yellow cards and red cards. that's just a horrific take on Sky Sports side of it. Yeah. Ian said a better performance, but Pato made 2 or 3 outstanding saves. Yet they hit the bar 3 times, or 2 or 3 times, didn't they, Leicester, in that game as well? So it could have been much worse. And yeah, we can't defend set pieces. Nice little summary there. Cabby, what's your thoughts?
Oh, that's the game.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I thought we more than matched Leicester, and I thought in large aspects of the game, I thought we were the better side. In large clumps of that game, the way we were passing the ball, we weren't giving Leicester any time at all. When they were coming out from their back or the goalkeeper was rolling it out, we were just closing them down so quick and pressing them.
Yeah.
We were outstanding. The penalty decision, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, but we're still going to put the penalty away. But I think the biggest letdown for that on that night was just our finishing. We couldn't hit a platypus's arse with a teaspoon that night. We just couldn't. They were just going, 20 meters out of the bar. They were awful. They were leaning back when they were hitting the shots. They were terrible efforts on goal. But that was the only fault I can fault the Sunderland was the finishing. It just wasn't not there at all.
Not clinical enough.
Yeah. And to be fair, I think we did ourselves a little bit of good service, and a little bit of respect was instilled back into our performances in that game as well. You've got the Borough one, which was absolutely horrific, then the underperformance against Stoke, and then this Leicester performance. It could have went either way. We deserved a point or more on that one.
Stoke defeat. I was more annoyed of the Stoke defeat than I was on the Leicester defeat. Put it that way. I was really, really. I'm not going to swear on here, but I was really peed off.
Yeah.
Massively against Stoke. It was like I was annoyed.
We could have done something about the Leicester goal. Luca and I could have jumped and headed it away the ball, but
yeah, Bellingham could have been aware that his zone was being attacked by a defender. It was just a slow reaction, and that's what happens with zonal marking. The goal itself, I think, it's a well taken goal. It's a very professional goal from Leicester. It's how we reacted to that after that point, which I think, yeah, we didn't actually materialise in getting the ball in the back of the net again. That's work Mowbray has to do with strikers.
Well, as one player that took a bit of criticising is Patrick Roberts, and I thought he was absolutely immense. I thought he was one of the best players against Leicester that night. He ran and ran and ran. He was causing all kinds of problems. So I think he deserves a bit of credit because, like you say, a few of them were saying, Patrick Roberts has been off the ball the last few games, but he was immense against Leicester. Every time he got the ball, it looked like we're going to do something. He was dangerous. Like the bit of the old Patrick Roberts coming back. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I know. We had on performances in that game, we had a goal conceded, but Acacia's pointed out Dan Ballard had an absolute worldie of a game. How he should be in the Premier League very, very soon. I have no doubt about that. Same with Anthony Patterson. He made some amazing saves. If you put this Anthony Patterson against Onana in Man U shirt, Patterson would save 9 times out of 10 more than Onana. It's like he was just so switched on and alert. The problem I think Patterson has is his distribution from his feet. He can throw a ball to a person, but distribution, if you want to play a style where it's like pass out from the back, he's not going to be able to do that very comfortably. But yeah, performances on the pitch, Patterson, Ballard, and Roberts, but then a little bit also Clark. But you'd expect that from Clark nowadays. If Clark has a bad game, the entire team's having a bad game. Not along, Paul.
Thing I like about it as well, though, because Mowbray said apparently that Serkin, since he came on, Serkin's actually pushing for a start tomorrow.
I agree with that. That does bring me on to the next one, but I'll quickly call out Jim Nesbitt's qualified the comments that Sky made. He said he didn't blame the players for not complaining. He just said there wasn't much reaction from them, which wasn't easy to see. So maybe we didn't react to whoa, that's a foul. Maybe it was just we're not getting this. I don't know, but we shouldn't have to dramatize our reactions to a foul to get it. So yeah, a fair point. Thank you for clarifying, Jim. And Robin Hood here says everybody was bad on that corner. Absolutely everybody. Well, if they were wearing a Sunderland shirt, that is. And Patterson was a boss for sure. So let's summarise that game in one sentence each. Jacob, go for it.
Leicester game.
Yeah.
Disappointing result, but performed well.
Yeah. Succinct. Cabby?
Simple. Solid all over the park apart from finishing.
Okay. Paul?
Could have won them, but move on.
Move on, yeah. I think it's the end of our defeats. So yeah. What's a new hope is coming. There we go. We'll also talk a little bit about that because Jim says I thought Job looked tired, otherwise might have jumped into the Leicester scorer, and Robert needed more end products. Do we get Alicia back? And I'm on the fence with Job. So Job's performance, Ekwa's performance, I think their positions are up for grabs in this upcoming game against Norwich City because of that. Yeah, I'll go with my lineup just so you've got that to hand. I've got it written down here. I've got Patterson written down for in goal, Huggins, Ballard, O'Nien, and Sirkin at the back. Ekwa as a holding central defensive midfielder. No Dan Neil. Roberts and Clark with Bellingham as the central attacking midfielder, and then a choice. We either support Bellingham with Pritchard, or we go two up front with Rusyn and Hamir. That's my choice. We either go for a 4-4-2 with a diamond in the middle, or a 4-5-1 that we used to. But yeah. Oh, perfect. Robin Hood's come up with one of the points. I was going to say that about Bellingham as well. Ekwa doesn't look fully fit. He looks like he's been rushed back to the squad.
Yeah, he does actually.
Is there anybody that's on the fringe that you think we should be starting, or what do you think we should do to change tactically away from how we performed against Leicester? Don't all jump in at once, boys. Cabby, do you think we need to change how we set ourselves up against Leicester for this Norwich side?
Well, personally, tighten up definitely at the back for corners and set pieces and that's got to be one of the number one things addressed.
Mm-hmm.
Because we're just falling asleep at the minute over set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We know we can pass the ball. We know we can pass the move. We're being known to have the tippy-tap football really, really quick, and sides can't deal with us because we are capable of doing that. Many games have shown.
Yeah.
I would just say we need to just tighten up at the back, especially like on set pieces and that. Because we're not. Other than that, we are decent in defence.
In open play. Yeah.
In open play, yeah. But something seems to change when a set piece happens. It's like I cannot put my finger on it, but the set pieces needs to change, and just the finishing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully they'll have been practicing that on training.
I think everybody does that, doesn't it? Like they kick the ball out of the goal. That's like the number one thing strikers.
Yeah, but yeah, that's two things I would change because there's nothing really much wrong with our play. To be honest with you, it's just those two things I would like to address.
So it's the tactics on set pieces essentially, and solidifying. Yeah. So Ian's chipped in and says, I guarantee he plays the exact same lineup as the Leicester game. He refuses to rotate the team. Paul, comments?
To be honest, I have to agree with that. I don't think nobody's like, he not rotate the squad. So, he has to, but he won't.
So you're saying Burstow's starting over the likes of Hamir and Rusyn still, even though he's not scored, and he has had the opportunity, just... it keeps on dropping too far back for me. I'm sorry, but he tries to play where Bellingham is.
But yeah, I think nobody's like in not change the squad.
Okay. Acacia says
I'll
it'll be
shocked if he does, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, Acacia's agreeing with you, saying it'll be the same team from Leicester the other night. Mason will obviously be up front again tomorrow. I don't know if that's obvious to everybody because he's played he started 4 games now and still nothing's materialised. So Uploads says drop Burstow all day long, which I am clearly calling out for with Rooston or Hermia starting instead. Jacob.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Do we change the lineup? What do we do? Do we keep it the same? There's kind of a mixed bag here.
I mean, it's probably going to be the same, innit? Because Mowbray's that sort of manager. But if I were him, I'd probably maybe have a 4-4-2.
Okay.
And have Burstow and Russian up at the top. But yeah, I do think it beats. I do think, yeah, he's going to do the same squad as Leicester, to be fair. So
Okay.
it's his team, innit? At the end of the day, that's his team. If he wants to do that, that's fine. But preferably, I prefer to have maybe a 4-4-2 tomorrow. But
Okay.
you know.
Are you eating crisps at the same time, mate?
No,
You just sounded like you're doing like that with your mic.
Yeah, what would be a shock to us all if a Mayendo actually starts?
I was just about to bring that up. I've literally just squiggled under Mayenda because he is apparently rumoured to be coming match fit or nearly match ready, and he will more than likely, if he is on that like fringe of being ready to play, he'll be on the bench in this game, if not this game, the next. So I think there's a couple of claimants for people. If we're all going for the exact same lineup from last week, why is Chris Rigg not an option to start on Saturday games at least? Midweek, I guess, because he's obviously still at school. That's mind blowing. But like,
Well, it's half term.
as if we've got to be relying on the school holidays, mate. Come on. Yeah, there's a couple of players that are coming off the bench and putting their hearts on the sleeve and upping our performance. But is that because they're coming off the bench, or is that because they want to begin the starting lineup? I guess that's an open question for another day. Robin Hood's also agreed with you guys. By the way, I don't think it changes. But to be fair, the effort against Leicester with that lineup wouldn't have gotten the win against most of the rest of the league. Burstow does need to be further up, or he needs a supporting striker to stay up with, keep players up the pitch. With all of that in mind, with our lineup pretty much agreed, it's going to be roughly the same with maybe a tweak here and there for injuries. The Friendly Cup, who's taking it home? What's our predictions for the game?
2-1 Sunderland. 2-1 Sunderland for me.
2-1 Sunderland. Who's getting the goals for Sunderland?
Oh, I'm going with Clark and Ekwa.
Clark, Ekwa. Midfielders again. Okay. Paul?
3-1 Sunderland.
Again, who are you giving the goals? Who's getting them? You can't just say goal scorers and then like I don't know, 5 goals.
Jack Clark will get 1.
Yeah.
Patrick Roberts will get 1.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go Bellingham.
Job. Oh. Okay. Ian, I think, is on the same wavelength as Cappy and said a 2-1 Norwich win. Who's getting that goal for you, Ian?
Killjoy.
Yeah. Well, if we've got somebody thinking it in the chat, I can guarantee Cabby's putting his typical Sunderland head on as well. What are you thinking, Cabby?
Result-wise
against Norwich.
Well, it'd be hard. I always want Sunderland to win 3-0 every single week. Of course I do, but I just think the rot's going to continue, and I think Norwich will win 2-1. I think we'll get an early goal. I think Norwich will come back into it.
Yeah.
And I think our goal scorer, I think, will be an own goal. Norwich own goal.
So we're not even getting a goal scorer in a Sunderland shirt.
Is it me or does Tabby always go for a Sunderland loss? Like he always predicts us to lose.
No, he doesn't always. It's just
But
it's a confidence factor thing. Jim said,
of course. I mean, I'm sick to death of having this losing feel on a Saturday and back to work the next week. Of course, I want it to change, but at the minute, the way we're set up and without a striker, and I just can't see it.
I can though. I think that's just me being more of the optimist. I'll go through a couple of extra scorelines from the chat. Acacia saying 4-1 Sunderland. And I have no idea where we're getting 4 goals against Norwich from. Maybe we would rather the crowd up enough to upset them. Uploads are saying 3-2 Sunderland. That I can see is happening. A high scoring game, both of them, but 4 for Sunderland is it's a good ask. Jack Clark, Job, Paddy Roberts, and Dan Ballard for Acacia. Dan Neal says Sunderland's goals coming from Dan Neal. I mean, has he scored recently? Because he's very, very far back. Would he have to score a goal like Ekwa did?
And then he'll give the V sign at the referee saying, "Don't you dare send me off."
You mean you're the victory sign?
Yeah.
Norwich has 24 goals against, and if we score 1 goal, I'd be extremely disappointed, says Robin. So he thinks we've got a lot of goals to score past this Norwich side. Ted with his classic 6-0 Sunderland. That would be amazing. I've been told, Paul, that Norwich fans will be calling Wanga to go, apparently. You can elaborate on that after I've gone with my scoreline. Ranks is chipped in with 2-0 to the lads. If he plays Burstow scores, that's an interesting take. And Clark, if not Burstow, whoever we put up top. Clark, Rushin, Chrissy Rigg. I'm going to go for I think I said 3-1 Sunderland win. I think our goal scorers are going to be Rushin if he starts. If not, Rushin if he starts. If he doesn't start, then it's going to be Clark, and Roberts to score the goals. The wingers, basically. Our wingers come strikers because they're the only ones that are finding the net. But that's where we're at the minute. I'm going 3-1. We'll see how that goes. So elaborate on that point about them asking their manager Wagner to go. So this is obviously they're not doing well in the table, but is that justified?
I can probably see where that's coming from because after their last loss, I was checking checking their Twitter feed, and actually their supporters are every single one of their fans is actually calling for the manager to go.
Okay.
But I was actually looking as well, see if Danny Bart has played any games for them since he's been there. He hasn't even started a game.
What was the point, Danny, mate? I'm guessing he was pushed out the door of Sunderland, but yeah, fair enough. On that, I know you said Wagner's got calls to go out, but I've seen on Twitter, on X, that some Sunderland fans have been very, very strongly Mowbray out, which I think that's way too premature. I think that, yeah, I understand where they're coming from. 3 losses in a row is never nice to see, but we've identified points to blame and areas of improvement. In that, I think it's premature to say Mowbray out. If you look at it in the realistic sense, from a Sunderland standpoint, we are still better off at game 13 than last season, with 2 points ahead. And the next 2 games, game 14, 15, we lost both of those, and then we drew game 16. So if we pick up one more point, more than 1 point in the next 3 games, we are a game ahead of where we were last season. So we've improved. We have improved. It just doesn't feel it on the back of 3 losses. So, yeah. If we
I'm probably where that's coming from, though, Ant, because as a case you'll tell you, I was listening to what Nick Barnes actually interviewed Tony Mowbray yesterday.
Sure.
And Tony Mowbray actually was frustrated.
Yeah, you've lost. You've lost
with the striker situation.
Mm.
Because apparently every press conference now, the media is actually asking Tony Mowbray about them, and from I didn't listen to the full interview, but Total Sport played some of the interview, and for what it sounded like, Tony Mowbray actually was angry.
Yeah, I can understand that, because last season, I don't know if you recall, but it got to the point where it was an absolute joke. Are we bringing in more strikers? What's the striker situation like? What's the strikers? Now they've actually done the job and brought the strikers in. They're still good. Why are the strikers not performing? It's just the same question, just a different root cause. Just I find that quite funny.
Yeah, and Mowbray said to Nick Barnes that he sees them every day, and
Yeah.
Mowbray said if they do well in training, he'll play them.
Yeah, and I like, because that's the most recent form factor training sessions, right? So
Yeah.
if you're putting your heart on your sleeve in the training session, that means you're going to put your heart on your sleeve in the game. If you had a dip, it's a mentality and a mental game as much as it is physical. So yeah.
Actually, on a different point, do you think
Sure.
it's getting harder for teams that's been in the Championship for a while to compete with teams that's been relegated from the Premier League? Do you think it's getting harder for us to teams to compete?
No.
Because Burnley came back down and they walked the league. Leicester City's come back down. It looks like they're walking the league.
Yeah. So the reason I'm saying no is because that is two teams, maybe three teams in the last 5 years that you could say that to. But you could say it to the polar opposite end.
Leeds and Southampton are not killing it, are they?
Leeds, Southampton, Watford, West Brom.
Yeah.
So
Stoke.
Stoke were relegated about 10 seasons ago. It's been a while since they were Premier League, but you'll have some teams that are just, they shouldn't have gone down, or maybe they were like on the fringe of staying up on the last game of the season, and they've dropped, and they've kept everybody because they know the momentum is with them to come straight back up. We did that a lot when we went down in the early 2000s. We kept a lot of our core strength of our squad and then went straight back up. So, yeah. I think it is just, you'll get those teams that are too good for this league. But to the opposite end, you've got teams that are too bad for this league, and just look at Sheffield Wednesday. Do you know what I mean? Like, some teams shouldn't be where they're at. Yeah.
Or Wigan. I forget Wigan.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Wigan played okay until like they sacked their manager, and then it just fell downhill from that point onwards. When we beat them, that was at game 13 last season. Then after that point, they just crumbled. But at that point, they were in the top. I think they were 14th, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on chat at the same time because it's a little bit tricky with where we're at, because I don't want to go too far back. That's where I wanted to go back to. Pennywell Pundit says, DJ, you're looking super intelligent with your specs on there, mate. do you want to respond to that?
Thank you, but I'm actually thick as
thick as gravy.
Thick as mince.
Yeah. We'll wrap up the Norwich prediction side of it now. Are we overall as a fan base confident going into this game, or should we put our reservation hats on?
I think as Sunderland fans, we're never confident. We should never be confident because it's Sunderland. But
fair enough.
Not only have I got my reservation hat on, but I've got my safety boots on as well.
Your high-vis jacket.
My high-vis jacket, yeah.
Sorry, you your Sunderland third kit.
No, I don't knock it. I like that strip.
Yeah. Speaking of strips, actually, Paul, do you want to add to that? And we'll talk about the strip thing. Are you confident going into it?
No, I'm at the game.
Okay. You need to stop. If we lose, you need to stop going to games. Just watch them on telly. I think genuinely the last time you won the podcast, we won the game. So on the live stream, watch along. So you need to start returning to the watch alongs.
I do.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong. Paul was at the Southampton game with Bowers, and we won.
Yeah, but we played a game after that and won that one. Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those things. You just got your lucky routines, right? The final point I wanted to bring out is the new merch. Obviously, it's the thumbnail for this video. It was the merch, the media around that, and then the Q&A, the stupid questions, as Cabby puts it, at the Q&A. But also, we have Acacia in the chat who is at the Q&A, and we'll be able to add a little bit of extra context on that. So, the new kit, the new merch is the 94.95 away kit, Avex style, green. I'll probably, to be fair, if I go up not next week, the week after, I'll probably just get it because it looks nice. It's going to be that kind of retro, but it has the old, the shipbuilder badge, which I think is perfect, by the way. So, are you getting that kit? Are you getting that training kit, that collection, whatever you want to call it? Are you interested?
I'd like to, yeah, blast from the past. Why not?
It's just got to be priced right?
But you got to make money somehow, haven't you? That's just life.
Yeah. Gabby? I know you want the third kit, don't you? Rather than the
Yeah, I just love that colour. I do like that.
Is that going to be your Christmas present?
Possibly.
Nudge your wife and say, "This is what you can get me for Christmas," and just put
I'll be getting the matching shorts
and put Mackem Cabby on the back as well at YouTube.com.
Yeah, YouTube.com, absolutely. And I put it on small right on the bottom as well. Please subscribe, it doesn't cost a penny.
Yeah.
Oh.
That'd be good, Cabby, actually, putting that at the bottom, yeah?
Paul, are you?
It's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It doesn't cost a penny.
Doesn't? Well, it costs you time, though, and time's very precious. Paul, are you getting the kit? Are you getting the merch? Are you done for the season?
I boys will get it so I can use me discount off my season card.
That's what you need. Right. The final point for the stream is the Q&A. I generally try to stay away from Q&As purely because I think they are a PR exercise. They appease a very vocal part of the fan base, and the real questions like, are we keeping Patrick Roberts? Are we looking at keeping Jack Clark in our future plans, even if we don't get promoted? Those kind of like key questions. Are we looking at selling the club to another buyer in X amount of years? Those kind of questions are off the cards. They're the real questions that fans have. And yeah, Cabby, what was one of the stupid questions that you heard about? Was it floodlights?
Yeah, isn't it about time we upgraded the floodlights? They don't look quite dull, and I don't like the shape of them. They look a bit too old-fashioned. And a lot of the fans are saying, for goodness sake, use your opportunity to ask some productive questions, not the shape of floodlights, and how should they be upgraded? I mean, I just thought, what? I thought Jacob was actually in the audience asking that question, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, that's just rude. Jacob, were you in the crowd? Because I don't know.
No, why would I ask a question about the floodlights, Cabby?
I don't know. Maybe she's not a bright person. I don't know.
Yeah.
No, seriously though. I mean, am I being just a bit too much of a snowflake there? Or do you think that was a bit of a stupid question to ask?
I mean, I think it is a waste of because obviously his time is very finite in those Q&As, and he has to come up with a corporate response to that question and give it a genuine, serious answer. So it's no different to asking them what kind of concessions are they going to have at the stands. Are you confectionery? Sorry, are you going to have the Revels because Tony Mowbray has Revels? Like, what a waste of a question. But
I think one of the answers to that was something along the lines like, "Yeah, I'm heading off to B&Q tomorrow about 10 o'clock. Have a look."
Yeah. So Acacia's adding, yeah, Speakman said we will be keeping Jack Clark, so that's good to know. He did answer that kind of question. Oh, and my camera's froze. Cool. I look really intense.
Aldi's got some good bulbs in the middle aisle.
He even said that the Q&A, he won't be selling Jack Clark in January. I don't think we can. He's too integral to our success. It would be like not going for Amad Diallo in the January transfer as well. There's going to be fans absolutely clamouring for that. Is there any questions, Paul, that you're aware of that you think were really good questions or just absolutely stupid?
Well, to be honest, one of them I actually asked Casey here, which I've found it was actually about the new kit deal, because apparently it's rumoured that Steve Davison mentioned in the last business meeting that we've got apparently a new kit deal for next season. But one of them I do like. One of the questions actually was new kit deal getting strips out early before Father's Day and holidays. New shops
that's not a bad idea.
New shops in Sunderland and Durham. And David Bruce actually said need a much better retail offer and need them out in timely fashion. Need much better service levels. Have failed in the past and won't in the future.
So on the retail side of it, I'm going to add a little bit of my thoughts behind it. When I go on holiday, love to go to the local football stadium, be that Copenhagen, be that Melbourne Victory, whatever. If I know there's a football team in that area, I will go to the stadium and buy a shirt or buy some merch. There is some horrific club fan shops. When we had the galleries open, that was a good little extra outlet to like have on the side. Why is it doing this with a cameraman? There you go. But now that we've got just the one on the stadium, it does feel like a really poor service. It looks nice inside, but it's rarely ever open. It's open at inconvenient times. I think it's shut like on a normal day at 3 o'clock, which obviously if you work at 9 to 5 and something, you're never going to be able to pop in and just, I'll check if they've got any, those new training shirts I like or this or that. So commercially, we do need to improve. So having a shop in Durham makes complete sense. Having a shop in Sunderland Town Centre makes sense. Also with the...
Sam and Pants would have something to say about that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well, it's a cash flow, isn't it? Obviously, there's an expense of the overheads of renting the thing, but it's also making it accessible to the fans who can't travel the stadium every single day. Not every single Sunderland fan lives right next to the stadium. Hello, look at us four. Well, three of us.
Somebody also asked this question. Outside of the stadium, it looks like a zombie apocalypse. And KLD apparently says they've been trying to prioritise investment and went with the team investment first.
Yeah, I get that, like, but also you've got to make the place look attractive for players to come into. Well, saying that, if you're going from Sunderland to Birmingham, like Joe Bellingham made a really smart decision. St Andrews is an absolute dive. Like, if the club they're at is worse than what we are, we're never realistically going to get deals like Jack Clark happen a lot. So he comes from Spurs, right? But Spurs weren't playing him, so he's looking for that big brand. For the clubs like Sochaux or Benfica B team, Benfica B to Benfica A is more promising, but to get game time, Hamia were like, oh, Sunderland's more likely to play me. We haven't, but we were. So, yeah, I don't know. We're going to be an attractive club physically, but also an attractive club developmentally. So, yeah.
So what I liked about it as well, somebody actually asked about the pre-season tour.
Yeah.
Speakman said that it'll probably be in Spain or Portugal. The club's actually hoping to announce where we're going in pre-season in January.
So we've got time to plan the holiday rather than 2 weeks to go, shit, can we go to North Carolina next week? Yeah, that makes more sense. Especially if we're doing an international tour. Planning holidays is not as easy as most. Like, they think every fan is just going to drop out of the whim of a hat to go, yeah, let's just go here. Doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, really good question, that one. Any more good? Any more bad? Also, I suppose away fans being moved. What? Sorry. So what was the answer to the question around away fans being moved? Does anybody know on that one? Because Acacia says they're going to look into it. What does that mean? No, where the away fans are on the top tier and they can throw stuff down at the Sunderland fans. And was it last season? Was it a Burnley fan?
I think the atmosphere was better when the away fans was down on the lower tier.
In the corner, like fighting. Yeah, it was easier to police as well because you could drag them out. You didn't have to have the police officer run up like 20 flights of stairs and drag out somebody who was basically assaulting people. Yeah. The pyro being thrown down from the north stand. I think that was Burnley. I think it was Burnley.
Well, I think about it as well, actually.
I know there was a bit.
Go on, Jacob.
Are you sure? Oh, no, you go first, Paul. It's all right.
Same what I like about it as well, the club's actually going to look at the match day experience.
Well, the majority of the match day experience is the 90 minutes on the pitch, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, but David Bruce said the club is going to possibly look at a sports arena next to the ground. You know, like especially for newer fans.
Mm-hmm.
The club are actually going to look at it.
Yeah. So there's two final questions I want to highlight, and I know they've been asked. There was the Jack Clark being sold in January. Jim's just clarified he's not getting sold. They don't want to keep him. They don't want to accept any other offer unless it's absolutely crazy amount of money, which is completely understandable. If there's somebody offers them 35, 40 million for Jack Clark, we have to take that. Really, we could buy 4 really good replacements and make that team more competitive for everybody that's in there with that cash. But also on buying and selling players, I think with the media and the press stuff, the whole Patrick Roberts is going to get sold in January as well. I think that's going to go out the window very, very quickly. I think he is a club favourite from KLD and Speakman's standpoint. And
the club actually did one of the questions was actually asked about communication with the fans.
Yes. So this is obviously first step of that, by the way. That Q&A session was 100% first step of them having an open dialogue with the fans. Which
yes, Dave Davison said they're going to do more like this, and he said that they're going to try and go on the radio a lot more as well.
Do you know what would be really, really interesting if we managed to send them an invite to this podcast? Well, I know there's multiple Sunderland podcasts out there. You've got What the Folk, you've got Mackem in the middle. I think Mackem Middle is now called Speak Sunderland. You've got obviously the Mackem Football Show. You've got I've got a bloody list and I can't even remember half of them.
If they were invited to a podcast, I think it'll be the Sunderland Echoes. I think.
Oh, the Sunderland Echoes one is horrible though. I have a chat in there, and they yeah, I mean, the Sunderland Echo makes sense because they've got a good press system in place, but it's not speaking with the fans. It's speaking with how do I put it? It's speaking with the press on the fans' behalf. The questions are going to be so watered down and filtered. It's unreal. Yeah, sorry.
Wise men say.
Wise men say. You've got What the Folk. You've got fans react as well. I kind of class that as a podcast because it's after the game with Sean, and then you've got Roker Report. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of Sunderland podcasters and podcast teams out there that do good work. They have good discussions, hopefully, about our club and our progression. Yeah. The final one is, because I think this was a silly question, and I'm not sure about you, but the cleanliness of the club stadium. It's not clean enough and it needs a wash. I mean, if you go to it is something that needs doing, but should it really take the time out of a Q&A to bring that up? Cabby. Paul's in hysterics, so he can't answer. Cabby?
Do I think is that externally or internally?
That's an internal question, and it's external on the stadium. The outside of the stadium's too dirty and it needs a wash?
Look, I wouldn't be too bothered if there was human feces splattered all over the bloody walls. As long as the business is getting done on the pitch, I think that's what matters. To be honest with you,
So
then we can clean the crap up elsewhere.
yeah. Well, to be fair, there's two points to that. Geordies were doing that. They were the urine on the Stoker statue, so there is literally human excrement. But
Well, there's human excrement in every single seat that sits down at St James's Park, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Now that's just but that's a landfill, Cabby. St James's Park. That's a landfill.
It's like an explosion on a shite farm, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to trim that tiny little word out of my out of the podcast at the end, so it doesn't get limited. Yeah, I think it is a silly question. It's just like, yeah, it's nice to look at, but nobody really cares. Apparently, that one fan does, though. Was that you, Paul? Did you ask that question?
I didn't go.
That's all right.
I think it sounded like Cabby. I think it might have been Cabby.
All right.
Well, put it this way: for goodness know what they would say if they went to Roker Park in my days. Lumberneck.
Roker Park was class.
No, it was absolutely brilliant, yeah. But the cleanliness and the outskirts and stuff.
It was proper football back then, wasn't it? A proper football ground, shall we say? Proper football still, but yeah. I'll ask you one last question, and then we'll wrap up the podcast because we're over the hour now, which is going to be one of our longest ones. If you had one question to ask KLD, Speakman, the board of directors, whoever it is that you want to speak to, what's your question and why? I'll give you a minute to think about it because I know what mine is already. I am a fan that rarely goes to the games because I live so far away. If I had the opportunity, I would. I buy the streaming passes. I buy the watch-along passes when they're available, not a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff. I don't get any points or priority in games that are in my area. Why can't my purchases for watching the game, listening live to the game, etc., count towards the points that you need to buy away tickets? That's my question. Why can't I, as a supporting, paying fan, as much as I live miles and miles away from the Stadium of Light, not get priority or some level of priority for the money I'm putting into the club? Yeah, I agree. People who go to the Stadium Light week in, week out should have priority as well. They get points for it, but where's my points? Where's my points? Where's my little bit of, oh, you support the club, you clearly support the club. Here's a 1 day early potential purchase option. That's what they get. I think you get 3 days early when Paul, you'll know the because you got the season pass, but the away games, how early can you buy the tickets and how easy is it to get them?
It depends really, because the club will, when they've got the tickets, they'll put the information on the website.
Mm-hmm. They don't. What they do is they send out an email to everybody who has a season ticket and say, you can click on this link, but hope you don't share it with everybody, but this link will allow you to buy the tickets. You've got to log in and it'll say, this is not available to you, this is available to you. They literally put limited access on people who have these priority points. So as somebody who watches online, it's two different systems basically. SAFC and the ticket system, Ticketmaster, is two different systems and they haven't merged them. So why can't an online streaming pass be classed as a ticket? That's my question. That's my question.
Well, one of the questions actually in the Q&A actually was about Ticketmaster.
Okay.
And Steve Davison, I think, is going to change it.
Change the supplier. Okay.
No, I don't think it's the supplier. But
Do you mean?
One of them I do like. That was actually asked. It was about the ticket offers, because as you probably noticed, there's just Chris Waters.
Mm-hmm.
That's helping the fans now. the club is, well, Steve Davison said they are going to try and actually get extra staff in the ticket office to answer the telephones and actually help Chris Waters.
That shouldn't be a problem, really. People would love to have Sunderland AFC on their CV, so getting staff in, even if it is in the customer service role, should be easy enough. Right, I've given you a little bit of time to think about your question. What's your question?
Well, mine actually was asked in the Q&A.
What was it then? What was your Q&A question?
Well, actually, mine actually was about investment.
Oh,
KLD said if I think he said if if he can't take us forward, he will actually bring investors in with him. That could take the club at the next step.
okay. So basically,
with him in charge.
So basically, he would still be the chairman, but he would have investors who would pump money into the club if we get promoted. That's the way I'm reading that. Okay. Gabby, what would your question be? Or what is your question?
Question would be there's a shortage of public toilets for the gents in the stadium. Because I was desperate the other day and I had to share with a stranger. I weren't happy about it. That's what I would ask.
More toilets.
More toilets, yeah. Have you not noticed at half time if you've gone down? The queues. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, but that's because you got 40 odd thousand people going for this, like was it like a 50-man toilet? The toilets are big.
As well, in the gents' convenience rooms, the hand dryers, they need to be more powerful. They don't dry your hands properly. And that's a health and safety concern. That's what I think.
Oh, okay. That's a very interesting question. Jacob, what's your question?
Yeah.
I don't know what to take that, Gabby, by the way. What was your question, B?
My question for Dreyfus would be, when we get to the Prem, what are you going to be aiming for? Are you going to would you actually push for top 6, or would you just want to stabilise this like mid-table, like 10?
Yeah.
My
God. Mainly my question to him.
Okay.
Just to see what his vision is for us in the Prem.
Yeah. We've had Brad join us at the dying embers of the stream. You alright, buddy?
Bonjour, Bradley.
All right,
Not too bad. What's your question for the owners then?
my question was, what was it again? Trying to think, because me and Paul went through a big Q&A the other night, didn't we, Paul? We were looking through lots and lots of questions, weren't we?
Yeah, we did, because Ant was watching the stream.
Just thinking what my question was again, because I did mention it in the thing. I think it was something relating to Mowbray. I'm just thinking what it was.
Was it not that the club didn't back Mowbray, Brad?
That's it. Yeah, that was it.
Are you going to back Mowbray? Is that
like, what were you saying there, Ron? Sorry?
the question is, are they going to back Mowbray?
No, I don't think Paul Worden got it properly. Was basically it was Mowbray didn't get much support in the summer, apparently, according to Christian Speakman and stuff like that. And apparently
Okay.
he was linked with a summer exit. Apparently he was actually linked with a summer exit from the club.
Yes. So on that, there was 3 things. So there was rumor mills around replacement managers coming in the summer window, but as soon as it was a week before the North America trip, he was backed because all of the alternative options that were getting looked into were not good enough.
Mhm.
In terms of backing him on decisions of players that he wants, they've given him one player. Alex Neil got Lyndon Gooch. We got Bradley Dack. So he's had his backing. So yeah, that's that. On that note, it is well over an hour into this podcast, so I am going to end it there. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you very much for tuning in. We're doing the watch along tomorrow at 3:00 for we're here live 15 minutes before kickoff. So if you want to tune in for that, by all means do so. But other than that, catch you tomorrow. Well, lads, boys. See you later.
Away the lads. FTM.
Well,
Where lads?